What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another video. So week 11 is officially wrapped up, and I proclaimed a couple weeks ago that week 9 might have been the best Sunday of all time. I think week 11 might have ended up and won up that of the 13 games that were played on Sunday, 9, count them, 9 games ended in one possession scores. 5 of them were walk-offs, and an additional 2 came down to the very final play of the game. So it was a very fun day, very action-packed day. So without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off on Thursday Night Football, we had the Patriots taking on the Jets at home 27-14. And in the beginning, this really looked like it was going to be a closer game, kind of one of those weird ones that I warned everyone about. But the Patriots eventually took over and did what good teams are supposed to do. They got up after that initial punch in the mouth and really just played an all-around solid game on offense and defense. As for the Patriots, I mean, TreVeyon Henderson, the guy's the real deal. He's not only a workhorse, but he's shown in his 2 starts so far that he is a big play threat every time he touches the ball. He is so explosive when he touches the ball, and he has the speed to outrun almost anyone. It is really unbelievable that the Patriots were able to snag this guy in the second round, and they've left him on the bench for the majority of the season so far. The defense, like I said, started out a little rough. The Jets just kind of did what they wanted on that first drive. They ran maybe a little too much man coverage, considering that they were playing the Jets. It really looked like they were expecting a pass-heavy attack for some reason on that first drive, but they really got into a rhythm as the game went along. After that first drive, the Patriots really shut them down. And that defense is really starting to become a reliable unit week in and week out for them. So the Patriots really are just getting more and more well-rounded with every passing week, and they just continue to get better and better and more dangerous as a legit Super Bowl contender as we go along this season. As for the Jets, they showed fight, which, I mean, it's worth something. I'll give them credit there. But, I mean, Fields just is not an NFL quarterback. They need to make the switch sooner rather than later, and they already have. As of recording this on Monday, it's already been announced that Tyrod Taylor is going to be the starter next week. And I think that's the right decision for the rest of this season. And really, they just need to make a better long-term plan, whether that's nabbing a guy in the draft to build around this year or getting a bridge quarterback this offseason and kind of going after someone else going forward. It's become clear that regardless of what their plan is, Justin Fields is not involved in either of them. Then moving to Sunday, first up in the morning, we had the Miami Dolphins taking down the Commanders 16-13 in Spain. And this game was the epitome of 2 idiots fighting. I mean, really, we say a lot that coaches call games and teams play games, quote, not to lose. This game was the exact opposite. Both of these teams actively wanted to lose. As for Miami, once again, the only positive in the entire game for the entire team was Devon Achane. He is yet again the one player that is showing up for this team. Everyone else sucked. And I'm not even going to pretend like they have a chance now that they've won 3 out of their last 4 and they're 4-7, because even the Chiefs aren't in a playoff spot right now and they're 5-5. Oh, trust me, we'll talk about the Chiefs in a little bit here. As for Washington, the number one story this year has been injuries, and yes, it is the main reason they are 3-8. But coaching and the age of the roster is also a huge reason, and that came up yet again in this game. Obviously, starting Mariota was the big reason and the main reason that they lost. I mean, you can just look at that first play in overtime as case in point for that. That was atrocious. But the other 2 reasons were just as big. Look, Daniels is still a franchise quarterback. He is dangerous both running and throwing the ball. He's got an amazing deep ball, and he's really got the talent to be a top 5, top 3 quarterback in this league. But the Commanders seriously need to consider that these other 2 factors, the coaching and the age of the roster, are huge factors this offseason that need to be addressed, and with all these seasons going forward. So obviously, yes, it's a very disappointing season considering that you were a win away from going to the Super Bowl next year. I get it, but it's not a fluke year. I really think that the building blocks are there for Washington, but this offseason is going to be critical for them. They really need to address these major 2 issues that are holding this team back. Then moving into Sunday afternoon, we had the Carolina Panthers taking down the Atlanta Falcons on the road in overtime, 30-27. And yet again, between these 2 teams, it was fun. There were fireworks, and this game was once again defense optional. As for Carolina, we just got to accept it. Bryce Young owns the Falcons. It is what it is at this point. I mean, 448 yards and 3 touchdowns, even for a number 1 overall pick. Good Lord. And all year they've had games like this, but then they turn around and, lose to the Saints 17-7. If they can just play like this or close to this level, playoffs are definitely a realistic possibility. The division title is a realistic possibility. All the Panthers have to do is be somewhat consistent, and they can go very, very far in the NFC. That's all they have to do. Can they do it? I have no idea, but good win. Hats off. As for Atlanta, once again, the coaching is an issue. And I'll say it again, this is one of the most talented, now 3-7 teams I've ever seen. And they've shown that the defense, while better than last year, still is a work in progress. Like I said, 448 yards to Bryce Young, 30 points given up at home. They're young, and the core's young. They will continue to get better, but they still got a long way to go. I mean, it's better than last year. Very low bar. I get it. Long way to go for the defensive side of the ball. But obviously, the main thing is that the roster is there. The talent is there. The building blocks are there. Just got the wrong guy and the wrong staff leading the way. They need to make a change there as soon as possible. Then moving to our game of the week, we had the Bills taking down the Buccaneers at home, 44-32. And like I said, this was the game of the week. We had a ton of lead changes, ton of clutch performances, and really everything you can ask for in an entertaining football game. As for Buffalo, Josh Allen showed his true value here after the lackluster performance last week. I believe he accounted for 6 touchdowns total, running and passing. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, that's MVP stuff. I mean, he is the reigning MVP, so you really expect that out of the guy. It's not all sunshine and roses in Buffalo, because the quote-unquote run defense showed that it can and will cost this team games down the stretch and or in the playoffs. They are pitiful. It's the same unit that got destroyed by Achane and the Dolphins last week, and they got destroyed by Tucker in the Bucs this week. Not Bucky Irvin, Sean Tucker. As for Tampa, I honestly think, I'm not trying to hope or anything, but they really did go blow for blow with one of the NFL's best while shorthanded. And the defense was alarming. I'm not going to discount the fact that they gave up 44 points, but I still have faith in a fully healthy Bucs team because, again, still no Evans, still no Bucky Irving, still no Godwin, and went to Buffalo and put up 37. That's impressive, and while they are 6-4 and the division is maybe not the cakewalk that it looked like it was going to be maybe 4 weeks ago, I still have a lot of faith in this fully healthy Bucs team, or maybe a 90% healthy Bucs team. So I'm not panicking with the Bucs, although Carolina's starting to catch up with you. I still have a lot of faith in a healthy Bucs team, so it sucks to lose this game, but I'm not hanging the panic button yet if I'm a Bucs fan. And staying in the 1 o'clock window, we had the Jaguars taking down the Chargers 35-6. This was the shocker of the week, both because of the result. I really thought the Chargers were going to win this game and give themselves a little cushion in the wildcard race, but also how it went down. I mean, this was total domination by the Jaguars. As for Jacksonville, like I said, this is the best all-around game that I think they've played in years. Total domination on offense and on defense and coaching. And this is a crucial win considering both who you're playing, a team that you're going to be competing with for a playoff spot down the stretch here, and how some of the other games around the league went this week. Like I said, trust me, we'll get to that a little later. As for the Chargers, come on, this is a classic Chargers. This is a classic Chargers loss. Liam Cohen and his staff coached circles around Harbaugh's on Sunday. It was crazy and unbelievable to watch. I mean, it's like the Jaguars were playing an entire different sport than the Chargers were. It was insane to watch. And this game is exactly why Justin Herbert is not a top 5 quarterback, and I highly doubt that he ever will be, because his highs are highs. Yes, I will admit that. He has the ability to turn it on, but his lows, man, oh man. 80-something yards on Sunday. I forgot what the exact number was, but that's irrelevant. 80 yards against the Jaguars defense. That is pitiful. But like I said, it's classic Chargers. And staying in the 1 o'clock window, we had the Chicago Bears taking down the Minnesota Vikings at 19-17. And this is really a game that should not have been as close as it was. This should have been a dominant Bears win, which is why I was shocked when the Vikings started coming back in the fourth quarter. But the team that deserved to win did so in this game. As for Chicago, as I mentioned before, you really should have beat the Vikings by 20. They looked flat. They looked flat out bad. and the Bears really played down to their competition. Their defense came up with a ton of clutch plays, and they didn't do anything. But I won't fault or bash anyone for a win, as always. And with some help, with some results that broke your way this week, the Chicago Bears are leading the NFC North. Yes, the Chicago Bears are leading the NFC North and are on track to have a home playoff game. As for Minnesota, this is exactly what I was worried about when McCarthy missed a huge chunk of the season there. A tough game, a tough classic rookie performance is a lot different in week 11 than it is if it happened in week 2 or 3. And now, whether it's warranted or not, you're hearing noise that McCarthy, if he's the guy or not, after only 5 games. Again, if that's warranted or not, because it happened at this stage in the season, not McCarthy's career, at this stage in the Vikings season, you're now starting to hear that noise of, do they believe in this guy? Is he the guy? Just unfortunately, that's been a byproduct of McCarthy coming back and playing some very early games in his career this deep into the season. And the defense looked more like itself, but obviously it wasn't a losing effort. I won't put the last drive fully on them because the special teams just took that last kickoff off and let them get to midfield. So it's tough. It's tough. Complimentary football is tough to do, and it's a lot tougher when McCarthy had the day that he had. So I won't bash the defense too much. They played pretty good on Sunday. And moving into the 4 o'clock window, like I said last week, we had 2 huge ones, and they both lived up to the hype. First up, we had the Rams taking on the Seahawks 21-19. And this was a defensive slugfest, which many, myself included, really were not expecting and was not expecting how this game was supposed to go. As for LA, the defense really stepped up in this one, arguably for the first time this season, and they really rattled Darnold again. And the Rams are, like I say this every week, but I will say it as much as it needs to. The Rams are a balanced and they are a dangerous team. They play complementary football so well week in and week out. It's why, again, if Stafford stays healthy and at least keeps up, I'd say 80% of this pace, the Rams could very well win the Super Bowl. As for Seattle, Sam Darnold has quietly become a turnover machine the past couple of weeks, and it's finally noticed now because they lost. I mean, he threw 4 interceptions in this one. It's crazy. And the Seahawks still had a chance to win at the end of the game. That's just how good their defense is this year. Let's just call it what it is. The Rams defense has Darnold's number. I mean, we saw what they did to him twice last year, more notably in the playoff game last year, which is concerning because regardless of if the Seahawks win the West or not, there's a very good chance that these two teams meet again in the playoffs. Obviously, it'd be a lot harder if the Seahawks don't win the division, which they're on pace to do, obviously, with dropping this one. So they'd have to go on the road at least 3-4 times. And again, if they play the Rams, then they're in trouble because clearly the Rams defense has Darnold figured out. All right, it's time. It's time for my favorite part of the video. Continuing through the 4 o'clock window, the Denver Broncos took down the Kansas City Chiefs 22-19. And this was the biggest game in the AFC, not only the AFC West, the biggest game in the AFC this year. And it shows that the AFC might run through Mile High this year. As for Denver, this is without a doubt the biggest win of the season and arguably in years for the Broncos. And it may not look like it on paper, but the offense really got into a rhythm in the second half. They looked great when Sean Payton got the call in and everyone got up to the line with 15 to 18 seconds on the play clock. It gave them time to get up to the line, see what the defense was giving them, and adjust accordingly. And it really showed the offense really kicked it into high gear in the second half. And what's encouraging to me as a Broncos fan is that they made so many game-winning plays throughout the course of the day. Think the McMillan interception when the Chiefs were in the red zone. Think the McLaughlin touchdown when he was a yard short and everyone got up there and pushed him into the end zone. Think the Bo Nix throw to Cortland Sutton on 3rd and 15. The Bo Nix throw to Troy Franklin to get them in field goal range. I mean, I could go on and on here, but the bottom line is there were points last year, even though we did make the playoffs, 4 games we just didn't make plays like that. And this is the 4th or 5th game already where we made an abundance of plays like that, and it is so encouraging because it's telling me that this team is finally learning how to win games, and I can attribute that to coaching and specifically Sean Payton's experience with leading deep playoff runs with his Saints teams. So I am so excited to see this team continue to build on what they've got going. Like, this is really something special that we're watching, and they are fully in control of their own destiny with this one. They're 9-2 They're leading the Chargers, not the Chiefs, the Chargers by 2 games because the Chiefs are in 3rd and they're 5-5. I can't believe I'm actually saying this. We really don't have to worry about the Chiefs right now. That's where we are at this point. But let's shift to the other side. As for Kansas City, this team dropped a must-win game. Like, there was no way around it. This was must-win for the Chiefs, and they lost, which we're really not used to seeing out of this team in the regular season. And they're 0-5 in one-score games, which is a complete opposite of last year. They won all of those one-score games. They had that huge streak, which was by far the longest in NFL history. And now they can't seem to win a close game if their lives depended on it, which on Sunday, it really, in a way, was. Their playoff lives are starting to get a little dire. And at 5-5, the division may very well be out of reach at this point, considering that you're chasing 2 quality teams. And even now, you need some help in the wild card because Jacksonville's got the direct tiebreaker on you because they beat you. And I believe Houston does too with some workarounds like conference records and whatnot. Then on Sunday night, we had the Philadelphia Eagles taking down the Detroit Lions 16-9. And this was yet another unexpected defensive slugfest. With this one in particular, I'm really shocked that it turned into that. Not what I was expecting at all. And this was overall a very kind of disappointing Sunday night game, in my opinion. It was very sloppy between 2 supposed contenders. Just really not the game that I wanted, really not the game that I was expecting. But it also can't go without mentioning that last DPI call was one of the worst calls I've ever seen. That was complete and utter bullshit. There's nothing there, and even if there was, if anything, it's OPI. If anything, like, I want to make it clear that my opinion is there's nothing there. There's no call there. It's complete hand fighting. If absolute anything, Brown pushes off. AJ Brown pushes off. Like, I don't understand how they got DPI out of that. It's completely and utterly ridiculous. As for Philadelphia, once again, this defense played an amazing game. They played out of their minds on Sunday night. And more, they are becoming the strength of this team. Whether that's a good thing or not, that's really up to your interpretation. And once again, the lack of explosive plays on offense hasn't burned them yet. But it will. It will if this pace continues. You can trust me on that. As for Detroit, this was the rare offensive disaster class, the rare stinker from the Jared Goff-led offense. And I keep thinking that these bad performances, think this one, the Vikings loss, is going to be a wake-up call. It's like, all right, this isn't the standard. Dan Campbell's going to coach him up, give him a week of hell in practice. But since it's plural that they've had wake-up games, not games, it's become clear that they have yet to wake up. Whether they do or not for the rest of the season, it's fully up to them. They are 6-4, which, believe it or not, is not even good enough for a playoff spot. So it's really up to them if they can get this thing back on track and be the good team that I think we all know that they are, but just not really playing like it right now. And then looking at our Monday night game, we had the Dallas Cowboys going on the road to Las Vegas to take down the Raiders 33-16. And this was a pretty predictably boring game. I did not have a lot of interest in it. I didn't even really watch the first quarter that much. I kind of forgot about it. And it went about as expected. This was a pretty convincing Cowboys win. Nothing crazy, but definitely the better team won, and it was clear who the better team was throughout the whole night. As for Dallas, their defense finally played average, although I will acknowledge it is the Raiders. That Raiders offensive unit is not a difficult one to play solid to good defense against. And they're going to really need another win or two here and some help from some other results around the NFC before I start putting them and playoffs in the same sentence. As for Las Vegas, I mean, what do you really want me to say here? They still suck. Geno still sucks. Like, there's just not a lot of good with this team. And I think what encapsulates their season so perfectly is that they had a chance to get back in the game. They made it a 15-point game, and they were about to get the ball back with 10 minutes to go. They promptly had a negative 3-yard punt return. Yes, a negative 3-yard punt return, and then a safety to practically end the game right after that. I mean, it's become clear that Geno just is not the guy. He turns the ball over way too much, and that 2022 season was just an insanity run. It is what it is at this point. So what you need to do if you're the Raiders management is you need to get out of that contract so you can figure out truly if Pete Carroll is the guy or if the game has passed him over, because it's not all on Carroll now with Geno Smith's just atrocious quarterback play. I really can't say or not whether Carroll is the guy at head coach or not, because I really feel like he hasn't got a full fair shot with the Raiders yet. So get out of Geno, figure out if Pete Carroll's the guy, and then just go from there. And looking ahead to week 12, first up on Thursday Night Football, we've got the 7-3 Buffalo Bills traveling to Houston to take on the 5-5 Texans. And really, the Texans' schedule is not going to get any easier as with this matchup here as far as getting their season back on track. And as of recording this on Tuesday, it just came out that the short week came to bite them a little bit here as CJ Stroud is scheduled to miss his third straight game. So Houston will turn to Davis Mills for the third straight game. So on the other side, that means Buffalo is going to be up to the very daunting challenge of playing run defense. So we'll see if they're up to it. Then moving to Sunday, we've got the 6-4 Pittsburgh Steelers traveling to Chicago to take on the division-leading 7-3 Chicago Bears. And this is a huge game for both teams. Obviously, the Bears are leading the division, but I'll give flowers to the Steelers for leading their division as well. But both teams have a couple other teams hot on their trail. So it's a very critical game for both of these teams to win. And I think that a huge factor into this is going to be Aaron Rodgers' status. He did not get put on IR, so that's a good sign for Pittsburgh, but his status for this Sunday is up in the air, and that will be a huge factor to determine how this game goes. Then continuing through the 1 o'clock window, we've got the 9-2 Patriots traveling to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. And the only reason that I included this game is that there is an outside chance that Joe Burrow might play. That might be the only reason that this would be a good game to watch. If he doesn't play, then God help us all. Then our big one in the 1 o'clock window is the 8-2 Colts traveling to Kansas City to take on the 5-5 Chiefs. And really, every game from here on out is going to be a big one for the Chiefs. If they're going to want to make the playoffs, they're going to have to scratch and claw for any win they can get. But especially this one, because it's not only against one of the AFC's best. At 5-6, we might have to start questioning if this team is even going to make the playoffs. So again, you don't really need me to tell you that this is a huge game for both of these teams. Maybe more so for Kansas City. But for Indy, this is a big test themselves. Obviously, they're coming off the bye, some extended rest, and this is going to be a tough environment going into Arrowhead, and considering how Daniel Jones really has not been playing that great as of late. So we'll have to see how this game goes for both teams considering the stakes in this one. Then moving to the 4 o'clock window, we've got the Philadelphia Eagles traveling to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. This is the best game of the 4 o'clock window. I'll leave it at that. Then on Sunday night, we've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveling to Los Angeles to take on the Rams. And I think this is going to be a really good one, pending who and if the Bucs get anyone back. It's looking like Bucky Irving may play. He started practicing towards the back half of last week, so we'll have to see there. And the Rams are objectively coming off their biggest win of the year. When that happens to teams, about half the time we see them carry that momentum and continue to play great. The other half of the time we see them have a letdown after exhausting all resources to get that win and kind of coming back down to earth. So I think with everything considered, this is a really intriguing game and should be a really fun one to watch. Then on Monday Night Football, we've got the 6-5 Carolina Panthers traveling to San Francisco to take on the 7-4 San Francisco 49ers. And I think this is a really intriguing game in the NFC wildcard race. But as with every one of their games, this really depends on which version of the Carolina Panthers we get. If we get the one last week, I think we'll be in for a good one. If we get the version that lost to the Saints, not so much. But that is it for me. If you have any thoughts of your own on this past week, the week ahead, feel free to drop them in the comments. Any thoughts on what I said, again, both this past week and the week ahead, feel free to also drop those in the comments. If you like what you're seeing, feel free to like and subscribe. It's completely optional, but greatly appreciated. That is it for me. Enjoy week 12, and I'll see you in the next one.